Okay, hello. My name is Brent Kennedy. This is the final week of MBAD-6020, Customer Value Digital World. Today, I'm comparing Southwest and JetBlue. So as an overview, Southwest and JetBlue, as I'll get into in this presentation, they're really quite similar, but there's some key areas which I have shown here on the slide that help to kind of dictate the way that these companies differ when you really start to drill down and narrow down into some specifics. Just starting off, we have value discipline. Of course, JetBlue and Southwest both bring differing marketing strategies to the table. As we learned throughout this course, value discipline helps to align a company's focus and provide the context for which that company sets its goals and objectives. I stumbled upon this quote on the slide just to note that successful companies cannot be everything to their customers. Rather, they must choose certain strategies for their focus. Starting with Southwest, there have been some significant events in recent news that have shed negative light on the company. However, to their credit, they are traditionally noted for their operational excellence. Their no-frills and customer-friendly approach has generally been extremely effective in their historic success. As for JetBlue, one of the primary value disciplines is to maintain low prices for flights. In this area, they are very similar to Southwest. Customers may note that compared to Delta or United, for example, flight prices are in fact cheaper on these two airlines. Unlike Southwest, though, JetBlue chooses to cater to different customers, providing a range of cabin classes, for example. I will get into customer differences later in the presentation. Demographics of customers for these two airlines are really quite similar. One slight difference is the class levels offered at JetBlue versus Southwest, so there is some segmentation here for a small amount of high-class customers. Since they are overall both value-based airlines, often the type of customer is simply someone looking for the cheapest flight from point A to point B. The availability of these flights is where segmentation comes into play, and I think that's a good difference to identify. Southwest generally has better coverage in the continental United States, while JetBlue reaches into several cities in South America. Furthermore, there are certain cities that JetBlue is extremely popular in, since they do follow a hub and spoke model for Southwest's point-to-point strategy. Most airlines strive to obtain customer loyalty from its customers, and Southwest and JetBlue are no different. Southwest's Rapid Rewards program is free and allows frequent customers to earn points based on how much they fly. JetBlue's True Blue program is very similar. Both rewards programs have various levels and rules and tiers that all aim to interest the customer, grab their attention, and keep them returning flight after flight. The strategies of both companies relates back to customer loyalty schemes discussed in week 4 of this course, including the case study of Starbucks' abundant success. We learned that loyalty schemes are developed for many reasons, including to reward customers, generate robust information about the customer, to affect customer behavior, and to keep up with competing companies. These benefits would certainly apply to these airlines, and one could argue there's just as much benefit to the company as there is to the customer with these loyalty program models. Now, there are several areas in the airline industry where AI is utilized. A lot of this comes back to how the plane flies and critical items such as safety. This is for the most part attributed to the aircraft manufacturer. However, as we've seen in recent news, the potential for AI to impact customer interaction and dynamic pricing based on customer information are two major potential areas of change that experts see coming in perhaps the near future. If either of these companies is able to harness those abilities, the customer experience could really be impacted. In terms of digital transformation, both companies made headlines within days of each other just this past March. Southwest made a big splash with its digital transformation initiative in partnering with Amazon, which was in response to the catastrophic cancellations during the winter holiday travel period this past winter. The overhaul at Southwest is a much needed one, and credit goes to them for attempting to rebound. For JetBlue, in a similar partnership, they partnered with Sabre, and again, the goal here is to improve their digital modernization. The idea being advancement of its retail strategy and streamlining its flight distribution strategy. Here I have the two CEOs of the company on the left, Bob Jordan from Southwest and Robin Hayes of JetBlue. It may first be worthwhile to point out the differences in the history of these two companies. Southwest has been around since 1967, while JetBlue is the newer company here, founded over three decades later in 1998. As mentioned on the previous slide, Southwest has been in the news for the wrong reasons this past year, mainly for its horrible handling of the holiday travel disaster. As we discussed throughout this course, managing setbacks and moving forward is key for a company and how they plan to operate in the near and long-term future. Both companies, as discussed already, seem to have invested critical resources towards digital integration and customer satisfaction, both critical factors that will contribute to their goals. The leadership in the company represents a commitment to move forward with this move to digital maturity, and time will tell to see how well these efforts are implemented. For huge corporations like Southwest and JetBlue, finding and maintaining the appropriate talent is a constant battle. For this reason, both companies are open about actively pursuing current employees and future employees to retain the resources necessary to make their companies successful. They may differ in how they explicitly describe employee attributes. For example, I have on the slide a few things that Southwest talks about in their hiring process. They might differ in how they structure their recruiting teams, but at the end of the day, both are ahead of the game in how they utilize data and analytics to evaluate current and potential employees. In conclusion, in this 8-week course, learned quite a bit. The lessons specifically in this presentation that were useful to me were the first, and namely with Southwest, be open when mistakes are made. Again, they've been in the news for some wrong reasons. I think they're being open to their credit. As I've shown, I think they're taking the steps necessary to make up for their mistakes. So we'll see where that heads. The second lesson is that market segmentation is critical for success. Both companies, JetBlue and Southwest, they know their customers are looking for cheap flights. So a lot of what they're doing is just to bring the prices down to those flights as much as possible. And as we've learned, you can't please every single segment in the market. They've narrowed in on the segmentation that works for them. One practice to avoid is undervaluing digital maturity. I think both these companies realize that with technological advances, they need to step up their game. And I think they're allocating resources to do that. So with that, I'll leave it there. Thank you for watching and listening. And this is my take on Southwest versus JetBlue.